This week in Jamaica Now, the Ramharrack payout, how the Petrojam HR manager got $13.4 million in a separation package. $2.7 million was for her incentive payment, although she only scored 47% on her appraisal. Parliament opened, budget tabled, $803 billion for spending this year, 34% is to pay debt. Jamaica lottery scammer charged for attempting to extort a former FBI and CIA head. Alleged baby snatcher charged. Hell of a day, 4 fires in 24 hours in the corporate area. The police are still investigating one.
Look at they've been dumping oil here so for a while.
And remembering Miss Universe Jamaica finalist Zandrea Bailey. I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. It's been dominating discussions all week how Yolanda Ramharrack, the former Petrojam human resource manager, was paid a separation package of $13.4 million. This includes $2.7 million as an incentive payment, although Ms. Ramharrack had failed her performance appraisal, attaining a score of 47%. At the same time, she had 19 disciplinary charges against her.
The policy says this is what you're entitled to if you get this score. Now, perhaps one could say, well, there's a flaw in the thing, you need to improve on it. The answer is something we're willing to look at, and in fact, we're doing a review. But for the moment, that is the policy. It was duly approved, and we applied it.
And I just want a clarification. You're saying for a calculated score of 47.5%, this is out of 100%, I'm assuming, 47.5%, you are warranted a $2.7 million performance incentive. So, I mean, if this person had got 95%, they would own Petrojam.
Petrojam's general manager Winston Watson has hinted that it may be time to consider a review of the state entity's incentive payment policy. In the meantime, the government has been under increasing pressure after it was revealed that the separation package was $13.4 million and not $9.2 million, as Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the Permanent Secretary in his office, Zandrea Bailey, had reported. The breakdown shows that $3.21 million was for Ramharrack's normal termination entitlements and $10.16 million as a result of a negotiated settlement after Petrojam decided to abandon a disciplinary hearing it said was becoming too costly. Ramharrack's statutory deductions amounted to $4.17 million. Her outstanding obligations, like her car loan, totaled $5.6 million, and so she walked home with an actual payout of $4.19 million, including refunds of savings in $1.09 million. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness has now appointed Favour Williams as the new Energy Minister. She was previously the Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. 2 junior ministers and 3 permanent secretaries have also been reassigned as the government moves to do damage control. Following the state opening of Parliament on Thursday, Williams promised complete transparency at Petrojam. And hours after the state opening, the government tabled an $803.2 billion budget. This includes $731.12 billion for recurrent or housekeeping expenses and $72.11 billion for capital expenses. Capital expenses are for new projects like construction of roads, schools, and bridges. Meanwhile, about 34% of every dollar will go towards debt servicing. A Jamaican lottery scammer is now serving a nearly 6-year prison term in the United States after he attempted to extort a former head of the FBI and the CIA as well as his wife. More in this NBC report.
The calls from Jamaica promised a $15 million lottery prize in return for wiring $50,000 to cover taxes. But when the 90-year-old Washington, D.C. man who answered the phone didn't send any money, and neither did his wife, the caller threatened violence.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your husband. I'm gonna set your house on fire. I'm not giving you any more warning.
What the scammer, Keneal Thomas, didn't realize was that the man he targeted was William Webster, former director of the CIA and the FBI.
It seemed to me that something wasn't quite right. This was pretty obvious to me that there was something fishy about it.
He and his wife, Linda, notified the FBI.
When he threatened violence, did it seem like a legitimate threat?
He terrified me. He told me that what the sniper's bullet would do to my head and the blood would go onto my White House, and it's very frightening.
The FBI says Thomas eventually realized who William Webster was.
At some point, he learned that he was involved with the FBI and CIA.
But that didn't stop him.
No, he said that the FBI and CIA would never find him.
Thomas was arrested when he flew to the U.S., unaware he was a wanted man. His sentence, 6 years in prison.
Still in the U.S., police investigators in New York have charged 32-year-old Jamaican Jason Reeves with the murder of his 67-year-old mother, Paulette Reeves. It is alleged that Reeves stabbed his elderly mother to death before burning her body and stuffing it in a closet. Reeves appeared in a Brooklyn Supreme Court on Friday, February 8, and was ordered held without bail. Paulette Reeves shared her Brooklyn home with her son. The police reportedly went to the home to make a wellness check after the devout Christian and middle school lunch aide did not show up for work for several days. Jason Reeves allegedly told police his mother was away in Florida. He was interviewed by detectives from the 77th Precinct in Brooklyn and later charged. According to neighbors, Paulette Reeves had complained that she did not know what more to do and that she thought her son was going to kill her. Her son is believed to have a drug habit and mental issues. Back home, 28-year-old Peter Gay French has been charged with child stealing in connection with the abduction of a day-old baby from Kingston's Victoria Jubilee Hospital last month. She was charged after being pointed out during an identification parade this week. French, who lives in Harkers Hall, St. Catherine, was taken into custody by the police a week earlier after she aroused suspicions while attempting to register the birth of the child at the Registrar General's Department in St. Catherine. Newborn Sabian Hutton was reunited with his parents last Friday after a DNA test confirmed that he was the stolen baby. Firefighters were kept busy on Monday responding to 4 major fires in the corporate area. They first responded to a massive blaze on an open lot off Spanish Town Road where oil was being illegally dumped.
Right here, sir, you can see some drums. These look like oil drums. From what I'm picking up, somebody must have been dumping oil. The wind has changed, forcing the smoke up by the hill. So it's a little hard. The fire, they have not done any cooling down. They're actually trying to get the main fire that is going on right now. This is where I step. You can see the oil there. So it's most like they were just throwing it under the land and covering it up. See that the fire literally burned in the dirt.
Then it was onto a dwelling house off Waltham Park Road. The firefighters were later called to the Jamaica Packaging Industries, a cardboard manufacturing company on Marcus Garvey Drive, where they battled for hours.
So this is where the firemen said the fire started in this dumpster right here. Apparently the residents were burning garbage and then the fire spread all the way over to the gas station.
And hours later, firefighters were called to Petrojam Limited, where a fire to the back of the premises had workers concerned. The 2014 Miss Universe Jamaica finalist, Xandra Bailey, was on Saturday remembered for her guts as much as her gusto, as friends and families gathered at the Otrius Baptist Church in St. Ann to remember her life. Bailey, a Westwood old girl, was eulogized by her father, Al, and praised for her indomitable spirit by several speakers.
There are so many good things we can all think about and talk about today about Zandrea Bailey, her zest for life, the fact that she had this crippling disease and she was not going to let it stop her anytime, any place, anywhere. And I think that is such an admirable trait. I'm so grateful to have known her. I'm so grateful to have been her friend. I'm so happy that she's no longer in pain and that she's now at peace. Xandra, we miss you, we love you, and we'll meet again one day.
Xandra died last month at the age of 29 after her battle with the autoimmune disease lupus. The urn bearing her remains was placed in a specially created section of the tomb where her mother was buried in 2014 after she too lost her fight with lupus. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, more from the ceremonial opening of Parliament to mark the start of the new fiscal year.
Because of the leadership of Dr. Peter Phillips as opposition leader, has made Andrew Holness's job as Prime Minister untenable.
some, it is viewed as a mere ritual. The throne speech plays an important role in outlining the priorities of the government for the new financial year, bringing together all arms of the state in partnership towards building the new and the prosperous Jamaica.